Hi, if you're new to my channel, which you are because this is my first YouTube video, hey. I've been telling myself I was gonna do this for, God, like over a year. I'm finally doing it. So, hey, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. To probably like the two people watching, if that, but hey, I'll start somewhere. Yeah, I wanted to start with a book video because I'm a huge reader, like huge reader. Maybe not as much as some of the booktubers and stuff because they read 150 books a year, but I have been reading since I was a little girl. I, in elementary school, would be the kid who would just have her nose in a book all the time. Through middle school and high school, I was obsessed, and I've gotten even more, read so many books the past few years, and really gotten into it. It's my favorite hobby ever. So I figured I want to start with a book video because that's a big part of who I am, and I've been seeing everyone do these mid-year reading wrap-ups, and I thought it was so fun. And since I wanted to start this at the beginning of the year, and I even recorded a whole video and then didn't actually, edit it or put it out because I was too scared, I figured, I can do something for the middle of the year. So it's later than that. I know it's end of July, and possibly early August when I actually get around to posting this, but I figured I'd do a mid-year wrap up for reading. So without further ado, here we go. So I figured I would start with my 5-star books. I'm an easy rater. I rarely rate anything below a 3, especially on Goodreads. They can't let you do point percentages. It's just whole stars. So most of mine land around a 4, but this year I've had 12 5-star reads so far. Oh, I guess I should say first, my book goal is 50 for the year. I'm currently at 44. So I think it's safe to say I could have definitely reached a little more for the stars with this, but that's okay. So now I think I want to maybe shoot for 100, but honestly at this point I just want to see how many books I can read. So we're at 44, which again, we're more than halfway through the year at this point. So it's not really fair with the mid-year reading wrap-ups, but close enough. So anyways, I have 12 5-star reads so far, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good reading 6 months so far. So I just figured I'd go through them and tell you guys which ones they are. So, okay. So first up is Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barn. This is the 4th book in the Natural series. Oh my gosh, I had high hopes for this because I'd heard a lot of people on YouTube talk about this book and this series, but the first 3 books were insanely good, really good. It's a criminal, almost if you like Criminal Minds, you'd really like this. It's a bunch of teenagers who have special abilities to help solve crime, and they're all kind of being trained up, and there's this whole mystery unraveling about the main character and how she's connected to some of these crimes, and it keeps kind of you get in deeper as you go throughout the series, and there's a different serial killer for each book, and they have to crack the case. The other ones were 4 stars for me. This one was 5 stars. It was just so good. It blew my mind. We got really deep into it. So 5 stars. Loved it. Is both Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. Insanely good. I know everyone has talked about these books for the past few years, and I'm not the first person to say that they're fantastic, but they really are so good. I had high hopes for this and they exceeded my expectations. Roman Kit, I love him. I love him. Okay. I'm obsessed with him. I'm obsessed with Iris. I love their romance. It's probably my favorite academic rivals to lovers I've ever read. It's got a hint of fantasy or maybe magical realism. I don't even know what you would maybe categorize that, but it's fantastic. I rated both of these 5 stars because most of the time the sequel isn't as good, but I thought it was as good, if not better. She wrapped it up in a beautiful way. So loved these. Also, I'm going in order of the books I read them in, so this has nothing to do with ranking of my favorite 5-star to my least favorite. This is just what order I read them in the year because I didn't feel like ranking them because that's a lot of work. So anyways, next up is The One by Kira Cass, and this is the 3rd book in the trilogy. Apparently I have a thing for the last book in a series, but I have read the selection twice already in my life. This was definitely a reread for me, but I'm just obsessed with the selection. I read it for the first time in middle school, read it again in high school, and then I felt nostalgic, wanted to reread it. I read the whole series in 3 days. It was great, and this one's just my favorite. The way that it wraps up, it's just beautiful. Again, this is a series that's been around for a long time, so I'm sure if you've been around BookTube, you've probably heard it. But basically, it's this whole competition where the prince of this kingdom called Ilia, which is rose out of the ashes of America. It's a dystopian novel. It's the prince of this nation has basically a bachelor situation where they invite ooh, how many is it? It's like 30 or something young ladies of like the best in the kingdom. They pick these women out of like all the counties and stuff. Maybe it's states, I can't remember. And they participate in this like challenge, this competition to win over the prince to become Queen of Ilia. And it goes crazy. It's super dramatic and really fun, and I just love the main character. The main character's name is America, and she's fantastic. She's the most feisty, like fun-loving, sassy girl ever, and I just love her, and I've just a special place in my heart for her and Maxon. So yeah, love it. So good. Next up is The Wedding People by Alison Spatch, I think is how you say it. Again, this has been all over everybody's videos. This was all over my Goodreads, I think last year and this year. This was very unexpected 5 stars for me. I thought I would like it, but for some reason, I never read like a blurb on this. I never read a summary. I went into it completely blind and had no idea this is what it was about. So if you also don't know what this was about, it was about a woman goes to this hotel and she's got a secret and she's going there for a specific reason. And she's the only person at this hotel who is not one of the wedding guests for this big wedding that's taking place here. She left this hotel, she just went to get away and went to go do something, I won't spoil it, but basically is realizing she's the only person who isn't a wedding guest. Well, she gets kind of wrapped up in the lives of all these wedding guests and the bride and everything. They have like this fun encounter in an elevator, and it made me cry. It was so sweet. It was very sad, but like very redemptive in the end, and I just loved it. It was just a sweet, wholesome story that didn't have the ending you'd think it'd have, and it just kind of was a surprise to me. I didn't expect anything along the way, so it was fun. It was great. I loved it. I try to read at least like a couple nonfiction books, like especially like Christian books of like kind of like building your faith throughout the year, but I finally finished this one. This is Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer. John Mark Comer, if you've never heard of him, one of the best pastors, authors. He's so smart, but writes books and does sermons in a way that makes you feel like it's so relatable and understandable, but it's these huge topics that are just like really big topics he's tackling, but like make it seemingly easy to understand. He's not like talking all this like jargon or anything, but he's super well researched. And this is about basically spiritual formation. And if you want to learn how to be like a disciple of Jesus, like if you want to know like, how do I actually do this thing, and how do I actually like live out my faith and become like Jesus, how do I do things like him, start here. This is the most fantastic book ever. Best nonfiction book I've read in a while, so loved it. 5 stars. Next one is God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is the first thriller I read this year, and it was fantastic. Just fantastic. This book blew my mind with how many different timelines and point of views and different characters we get. You're basically following summer camp in the 1980s. You're following the mystery of like what happens to this girl. She goes missing at the summer camp. She's like 12 or 13 or something. And you're trying to unravel like who did it, what happened to her. There's this whole investigation. And the big thing is that this same thing happened 12, 13 years ago with this same family. The same family, her older brother disappeared. So you're kind of like unraveling both, which is why there's so many timelines and characters. You're getting the point of view of like their parents, the actual girl who goes missing at the end, like it's her friend at camp, her camp counselor, the police officers. It's so good. I read this in a day and I absolutely loved it. So great book. Okay, next up, to no one's surprise, is Yesteryear. Again, this book like took the world by storm. Everybody's talking about it, and for good reason. It's about this trad wife that is basically living a kind of fake life. Like she's doing all the things on Instagram. She's got this farm, the perfect husband, the perfect kids, and you kind of realize it's like not entirely real. Well, one day she wakes up and she's actually living the life that she pretends to live. She wakes up, it's like the 1800s. She's living in this cabin, and she's kind of freaked out. She's like, what happened? So you're kind of following her timeline leading up to like what happens, and then you're unraveling like, why is she here in the first place? How did this even happen? Like, what's going on? So it is a bit of a thriller, but it's also just like a great commentary on like trad wives and just a bunch of politics, and it was really good. I really enjoyed this, so easy 5 stars for me. Next up is Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Narnia series has the most special place in my heart. This was another reread. I like to reread books a lot because, again, I read a lot in my childhood. So this was actually a series, the Narnia series, that my dad read to me and my siblings growing up. Probably like late elementary school, middle school, every night we would sit and he would read to us, and it was just like so sweet. And I never actually went back and like read them for myself. This book tore me up in the best way. It's such an easy read, and it's technically a children's book, but if you are also a Christian and have like a relationship with Jesus, this will make you bawl your eyes out because there are so many parallels between the Bible and the story of Jesus, the character of Jesus, and it like parallels with the character of Aslan, and it is just the most beautiful, heartfelt, but also like funny and cute and wholesome and whimsical book I've read in a long time. So I'm rereading the entire series and I kind of am finishing it up now, but this one was the best one in my opinion. It's basically these kids get transported. It's set in like the 1940s during World War II. These group of siblings get transported through a wardrobe at this house they're staying at during the war to this mystical, magical land called Narnia, and it's basically just like their adventures in Narnia and how, like, what happens to them, and it's beautiful and highly recommend. Next up is Atmosphere. Again, I know I'm repeating myself a million times, but like this has been on everybody's list. Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors ever. Daisy Jones and the Six, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Carrie Soto is back. She's fantastic. She takes you into the world of these characters like no one I've ever seen, and it's just like the most wild characters, like a tennis player, an astronaut, which is this one, or you know, a band that's set in like the 1970s. So this is about an astronaut in the 1980s, I think. Yeah, 1980, and her journey to becoming a NASA astronaut and her space missions. This is also dual timeline, so you're getting like multiple point of views, multiple timelines. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. It is the most beautiful. It's a great love story, first of all, but it's also a great, just like, look into what space is like and what NASA could look like. She's very well researched, and so it never gets like too sciencey, but you definitely learn a lot about the world she's writing, the characters she's writing. And so I didn't know a thing about astronauts, to be honest, and I feel like I came away knowing a lot more about what their daily lives look like, what it takes to become an astronaut, and loved it. She knows how to write a character. Fantastic. So next up is both Keeping 13 and Redeeming 6 by Chloe Walsh. This is part of the Boys of Tommen series. Hey, these broke my heart in the best way. I got recommended these by a friend, and for the longest time I just was like, I don't know if I want to read this. This isn't really my style. Like, I'm not a typical just like contemporary romance person. This wasn't what I expected at all. So again, these are part of the same series, but only the second and fourth one like blew my mind like these two did. So the first 2 books follow the couple Johnny and Shannon, and the second, like the third and fourth book, follow Shannon's older brother and his girlfriend, and just like how they got together, their story. It is beautiful. These books, and they're kind of corny. Like, I mean, obviously, like, it's a high school romance. It's set in high school. It's in Ireland in like 2005. It's sports related, and it's so, like, it can be corny at times, but like, it is the most heavy romance I've ever read, and not in like a heavy like smut way. It's actually pretty clean. There's a lot of cussing in it, but I mean, like, there's not a lot of smut, which is good for me at least. But yeah, it's got a lot of heavy themes, but she handles it in such a way that it doesn't romanticize, it doesn't glorify it, and it doesn't make it seem unrealistic. It just made me think, wow, this like really happens to a lot of people, and there's still beauty in people's lives even when this hard stuff is happening, and like just how these characters have so much strength and so much love for their families and people around them, and like how they get through these hard things. So if you haven't read Boys of Tommen, highly recommend. I'm on the 5th book, I think. Can't wait to read the rest of it. So these are my last 5 stars of the year so far. So my next question is my favorite book of the year so far in 2026. I know I just went through all my 5 stars, so like I'm gonna pick from those. I would say God of the Woods is my favorite. It just, again, it took me by surprise. I didn't really think that it was gonna be as good as it was. I read it so fast. It was perfect for the summertime. I think I read it in June, and yeah, it was just fantastic. And I know I've already said a lot about it, so I'll stop talking, but please pick this up. It's so good. Next up is the biggest letdown of 2026. And I hate to say this, but it's intermezzo for me. I had really high hopes for this book because I enjoyed Normal People pretty well. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't enjoy it as much as a lot of people do because I think for me, the characters there's just so much miscommunication and immaturity, and I can't relate to them at all. And that's not me saying that like I'm super mature or anything. I just don't understand why they do the things that they do. And honestly, it just made me really sad. And it was way more so in this book where I just left it feeling just like sad for them. And there's a little bit of redemption for sure. And like, I enjoyed reading it. I didn't DNF it, like it was good, but it definitely wasn't what I hoped it would be. And I think this probably will be my last Sally Rooney book. I want to love her so bad because everyone else loves her, but I just get sad, and I like getting sad and in my feels if it's for a good reason. And this just feels like depressing all the way through. And I get the point is like it's about like realistic people, but I don't know. I just can't. I just feel really like depressed when I read these, and I just couldn't do it. So I was let down with this one. Next up is a book that made me happy. And okay, finally one that I haven't already mentioned before is Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. This one just was the cutest thing ever. This was basically if you've ever seen or read Little Women, this is basically what the story would be if Jo March ends up with Lori instead of the professor she marries, because these two are childhood best friends. They grew up together. They are the best of friends. And her fiance, as they get older, she is engaged to someone, and this is at the beginning of the book, so I'm not spoiling anything. It's like part of the blurb, but her fiance ends their engagement on her rehearsal dinner night, and she doesn't know why. She doesn't know what happened. She's like reeling, and basically her best friend, boy best friend from childhood, who she's been a little distant with, takes her on her honeymoon that she should have gone on with her fiance as like okay, let's get you back from your breakup, like you're gonna go on this trip, you're not gonna waste it, and I'll be with you, and like let's restore our friendship kind of thing. Yeah, it was just wholesome all around. Made me very, very happy. The moments between them were super sweet, super cute, and I think this is the first Carly Fortune book I've read, but this was really good. I will definitely be reaching for more Carly Fortune books in the future. So for the final section of this video, I just wanted to do for the rest of the year, what I really want to read. So what's like top of my TBR list. And this is like all physical TBR. I have a lot of physical books that I have not finished because I've recently started buying a lot of books now that I have a home with my husband, and like I'm not just like traveling around from college and like in my parents' house. So I started collecting books a ton, and so I have a lot of books that I haven't read yet that are on my shelf, and these are in no particular order of what I want to read. These I try to separate them by genre. I want to read, like forewarning, there's a lot of like fantasy, because like fall time is when I just love to read fantasy. It's just my favorite. So yeah, anyway, let's get into that. So first on the list for me is Game of Thrones. Now again, like this is a very old series. Like this has been out for forever. Obviously there's a whole TV show about it. The TV show is done. The books aren't finished, I don't think. But I've just heard amazing things about this my entire life, and my goal is this fall to read the books and watch the show with my husband, because I've just wanted to watch the show for a long time too. And again, I've heard just like fantastic things about this. I love fantasy, especially like a high, like epic fantasy. And I've heard this is just one of the best. So I'm really excited to read this. I have really high hopes for this. I'm hoping it's a 5-star series for me. Next up, I have Crescent City. So I am a huge Sarah J Maas lover. Big shock for a fantasy lover, but she's fantastic. I love her. Throne of Glass is like one of my favorite series ever. And I've read ACOTAR, and I've just never gotten around to reading this. I'm honestly a little intimidated by it, and I've heard it's not as good as the other ones, but I still want to give it a chance, especially because of the new 2 ACOTAR books coming out in October and January. I've heard there's a lot of ties to this, and there's like some crossover. Yeah, I just really want to give this a chance and read it. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it because it's a Sarah J Maas book, and like I've never not liked a Sarah J Maas book. But yeah, so I'm a little nervous to read this one. I'm hoping it's another 5-star series for me from her, but I guess we'll see. Next up is Alchemized. This was like everybody's favorite book last fall and like this winter, and I bought it in the winter and then got busy and just like didn't feel like reading it. I'm a huge mood reader, but this book is basically like fan fiction of Hermione and Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter were together, and then somebody wrote a fan fiction about that, and then they like turned that fan fiction into like change the characters, change the setting, change the world, and put them into a different world. I've heard it's very like dark, very heavy. It's like after a huge war where the bad guys win and this woman has like lost her memory and she's trying to figure out what's going on with her. I've heard it's enemies to lovers, so I've got high hopes because obviously, I mean, again, childhood reader, I love Harry Potter. So I'm hoping for good things from this book, but I'm a little scared. It's a brick, so I'm a little nervous, but I've heard great things, so I have high hopes. I'm considering this fantasy. I don't know if it's actually fantasy or not. It's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I hope I'm saying her name right, but maybe it's Lee. I don't know. Ninth House and the duology. Like, I think the other one is Hellbent. I want to read this in the fall because, and maybe this is just dark academia, but I've heard this is amazing. This was huge on Book Talk back in like 2020, 2021, and I just never got around to reading it. And I got it for my birthday this year, so I definitely want to read this. Basically, our main character gets like a second chance. She's like from a poor family and dropped out of school early, and for some reason she gets like a second chance to go to Yale, which is like obviously one of the most prestigious schools. Well, she gets caught up in all of these all the school politics. There's like underground society. I think it's like kind of culty, and she's kind of just like unraveling all of this stuff about this like high society families and culture. And again, I really don't know that much about it. I'm trying to go in kind of blind, so like that's kind of all I know maybe about it, but I'm really excited for this one, especially in the fall, like early winter time. This is gonna hit for me. Okay, so the first one in this like literary fiction, general fiction category for me is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. I've heard a lot of people talking about this. I think it was last year or the year before on Goodreads, and I'm finally getting around to reading it. It's set in the 1970s and I think Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but it's in Pottstown, wherever that is. Basically, a skeleton is found at the bottom of a well, and it like launches in this whole like crime investigation, and they're trying to figure out who did it and like unraveling all these secrets. And the owner of this grocery store is kind of like, I think, harboring the boy who they think did it. So you're kind of like getting his perspective. I know almost nothing about this, but I've just heard really great things about it. So I'm a sucker for recommendations, so I picked it up. So we'll see. Okay, so next up in the TBR for litfic genre is Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. This one has also been like everywhere. I've heard a lot of people talking about this, a lot of booktubers that I really like have talked about this book, and basically it's this, I don't know if it's like a love triangle or what, but it's this husband and wife are living peacefully with their family on their, I think it's a farm, it's like a small town kind of country thing. All of a sudden there's like this big tragedy in the town, and the tragedy is somehow linked to the wife like reconnecting with her, I think, first love or like ex-boyfriend. Maybe they were never even actually officially anything, but they were something in her past. And so I think it's like a question of, is she gonna stay with the husband in the safe life she knows, or like go back to the love that she once had? And the whole time there's like this murder trial, and you don't know who's on trial, you don't know who did it, you don't know what it's for. I don't think, maybe you know it's a murder, I can't remember. That's just what I've heard about it. Yeah, it seems really good. A lot of people have loved this, so I'm very excited to read this. The last book in the litfic genre of my TBR is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. This is a book I've heard a lot about in the past few months. It's basically this older woman who is like sending letters to the people she is close with over the years. And I don't know if it's like throughout her entire life or just towards the end of her life, but it's all dialogue. It's all letters to people she's written, and you're just like kind of hearing about her life from the point of view of her writing these letters to people. Again, I don't know if it's throughout her entire life, but I've heard amazing things about this. I've heard there's a lot of good life lessons in it. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this one. The next categories, there's only one book in each of them, but I still wanted to split them up and do their own little like separate categories. So the first one is a classic, and that is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. My dad actually got this for me for Christmas, and he read it years ago, and he said it was one of the most impactful books for his faith when he was younger. And I mean, it's a classic. A lot of people have heard of this. He also wrote Grapes of Wrath, but my dad said this is his favorite one of John Steinbeck. He's read both. I want to read both eventually, but he recommended reading this one first. It's basically a parallel to like leaving the Garden of Eden and wandering. And I think it's set in early America. It's set in California, and it's basically like the generations after this family kind of reenact the Adam and Eve story, the Cain and Abel story. So I really don't know much about it. I just know there's a lot of parallels to the like early sections of the Bible. And it's just, I've heard it's a very deep book with a lot of life lessons. It's a classic, and I've been trying to get into classics more this year, as in like I read Jane Eyre at the beginning of the year. I really love that book too, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get more into it. So yeah, I'm excited to read this one. Okay, and then the last category is sci-fi, and to no one's surprise, one of the books of the year is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And this movie just came out, I think it was in April or May, and everyone's been talking about it. I'm really excited to see the movie. I've been waiting to see the movie until I read the book because I want to read the book first. But basically this is just like a space, kind of like thriller sci-fi. I think basically the earth is dying and humanity's like at its end, and there's basically like one last plan to kind of like save the planet, and they get this guy to kind of like go out there, and it's like kind of, it's why it's called Project Hail Mary. It's a Hail Mary to like save the planet. That's all I know about it. I'm trying to go into this blind, so I haven't even like read the back of it. That's just what I've heard, but I've heard crazy amazing things about this. Yeah, I'm just really excited. I love science fiction. It's not my like top genre. I don't read it as much as like fantasy or lit fic, but I really enjoy sci-fi, so I'm really hopeful that this book will be good and the movie will be good. So, okay, and that about sums up my reading wrap up of 2026, like the first half of it. It's been a great first half of the year, but I'm hopeful that the second half of the year will be even better because I'm going to be diving into more fantasy, sci-fi, more lit fic. I'm really hoping to get a lot of fantasy because I've read almost no fantasy at the beginning of this year. I've tried to focus on other genres. I'm trying to like expand my genre. Yeah, I'm really excited for fall time cozy reading as like summer's kind of starting to transition. I mean, it's still July. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I start transitioning to fall in August. So for me at least, fall's coming. And I'm very excited for that. But yeah, I'm very hopeful for the end of the year and for the rest of my reading. I will definitely hit my goal of 50, but now I'm honestly just curious to see what I will get. My reading goal last year was 70 and I almost hit it. So I'm hoping to maybe hit 70 this year is what would be great. But if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. This is, again, my first video, and I would be grateful if even one person watches this, even if it's just me watching it again, because I probably will. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with more stuff. I really want to give YouTube a try and just talk about books and life and what I love. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.